Forbes Middle East reveals its list of the MENA's top 50 most funded startups, and Americana shares climb in their ADX and Tadawul debut. You're watching The Daily Brief with Forbes. I'm Ramya. Forbes Middle East has released its list of the MENA's top 50 most funded startups. These 50 companies raised $3.2 billion compared to $3 billion raised in 2021. Fintechs reign this year with 21 companies attracting $1.3 billion in total funding, followed by 10 e-commerce players with $576.7 million, 4 delivery and mobility startups with $299.6 million, and 3 logistics firms with $292 million. The UAE is the most represented country with 18 startups raising $964 million in total funding. Visit ForbesMiddleEast.com for the complete list. Americana Restaurants climbed in its debut after raising $1.8 billion in its IPO, the first ever dual listing in Riyadh and Abu Dhabi. The Middle Eastern operator of KFC and Pizza Hut outlets gained 13% in Abu Dhabi to 80 cents and rose 6.7% in Riyadh to 76 cents. Saudi's PIF and Dubai businessman Mohammed Al-Abar had sold 2.5 billion shares in Americana for 71 cents each. Saudi's Tadawul stock exchange has been encouraging firms to dual list for years, but Americana was the first. Its success is expected to pave the way for others. The U.S. will see much lower inflation by the end of next year if there aren't any surprise shocks. That's according to U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen. She also said she's hopeful the labor market will remain healthy and that there's always a risk of a recession and the economy remains prone to shocks. Yellen says some of the underlying causes of inflation are already being resolved, with lower shipping costs, shortened long deliveries, and a drop in gas prices. Britain's economy remains on course for a long-lasting recession on fallout from the highest inflation in decades. The Office for National Statistics says GDP rebounded 0.5% in October. Officials say high inflation, exasperated by the Ukraine war, is slowing growth across the world. The UK government and the Bank of England have each said they believe Britain is already in a recession that will last all of next year. Meanwhile, the UK manufacturing sector is expected to shrink by 4.4% this year before another contraction of 3.2% next year. Trade body Make UK says deteriorating economic conditions are imposing a tight grip on factories. The forecasts come as British manufacturers are hit by rising raw material prices and borrowing costs and a drop in consumer demand. Make UK says the broader economy will shrink by 0.9% next year, lower than the 1.4% decline forecast by the government's Office for Budget Responsibility. Rivian Automotive is pausing its joint venture with Mercedes-Benz vans just 3 months after the companies entered a partnership to make electric vans in Europe. The EV maker says it will focus on its consumer and existing commercial business as it tries to become cash flow positive in its U.S. operations. Rivian says it's pausing this partnership as it considers economic conditions. Under the 50-50 JV, they agreed to produce electric vans in a factory in Poland, Hungary, or Romania within the next few years. Let's take a look now at today's Forbes RealTime Billionaires ranking. It tracks the daily ups and downs of the world's richest people. Our biggest losers today are all Chinese, starting with bottled water mogul Zhang Shanshan, down $1.7 billion with net wealth of $67.2 billion. Our second biggest loser today is real estate billionaire Wu Yujian, down $1.1 billion with net wealth of $11.7 billion. And our third place loser is also a real estate billionaire. Yang Huaiyan is down $1.1 billion today with net wealth still of $10.8 billion. Check out our website and our social media for all of the latest billionaires news. And over 300 people dressed as Santa Claus skied and snowboarded down the trail at the Sunday River Resort in Newry, Maine in the U.S. It's part of an event to raise money for the River Fund charity. It supports youth education and recreation and the local food pantry. I'm Ramya. This is The Daily Brief. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.